Hey everyone, welcome back to the BKJ Automation channel. Today I'm walking you through Material Takeoff, a Revit plugin I built to automatically generate a full bill of materials cost estimate directly from your Revit model, without ever leaving Revit. If your team is still manually pulling quantities and pricing out of Revit into a spreadsheet, this video is going to save you a lot of time. Here's the situation most project teams are dealing with. You've got a Revit model with walls, floors, ceilings, structural framing, all of it fully modeled. But when someone asks for a cost estimate, or wants to know what materials are being used and how much they cost, you're manually going through the model, pulling quantities, looking up RSMeans pricing, and building a spreadsheet from scratch. And every time the model changes, you do it all over again. Material Takeoff automates that entire process. One click scans your model, maps every material to RSMeans 2026 pricing, calculates your quantities, and builds a complete cost estimate with carbon footprint data, all inside a live panel alongside Revit. You can find Material Takeoff on the Autodesk App Store, search for Material Takeoff by BKJ Automation, or click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. It supports Revit 2023 through 2027. Once installed, you'll see the BKJ Automation panel on your Add-ins tab. Let me open Revit and walk you through everything. When you click Material Takeoff from the ribbon, the window opens alongside Revit. It stays fully modeless, Revit stays live and interactive the whole time. Across the top you've got your global toolbar with your main action buttons. Below that are 5 tabs: Takeoff, Dashboard, By Room, Revisions, and Substitutions. At the very bottom of the window is a permanent summary card showing your running totals, and your export buttons. Everything is visible no matter which tab you're on. Before I get into the step-by-step, if you're getting value out of this so far, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep building and releasing these tools, and it's the easiest way to know when the next plugin video drops. I really do appreciate it. When the window first opens, it automatically scans the active Revit project. It collects walls, floors, ceilings, roofs, structural framing, structural columns, and finish elements, mapping each material layer to RSMeans 2026 unit pricing. You'll see the subtitle bar tell you how many elements were found, and the Takeoff tab populates with every material row. If your project has Revit links, toggle the Include Linked Models checkbox in the options bar and it rescans to pull in walls, floors, and ceilings from every loaded linked file as well. The Takeoff tab is your main workspace. Every row represents a material with columns for level, room, category, CSI division, family, type, material name, quantity, unit cost, material total, labor total, line total, embodied carbon, cost source, and the date the price was last updated. If a price is older than 90 days, that cell turns gold to flag it for review. Each row has a checkbox on the left. Checking and unchecking rows includes or excludes them from all cost totals. The summary card at the bottom updates in real time. You can use Select All and Deselect All in the toolbar to control everything at once. Unit costs are also editable inline. Just click a unit cost cell, type a new value, and the row recalculates instantly. The options bar above the grid gives you several ways to organize the data. The filter drop-down narrows the grid to a specific Revit category: just walls, just floors, just structural framing, whatever you need. Group By lets you reorganize the list by category, level, room, or CSI division. When you switch the grouping, bold header rows appear in the grid to separate each group visually. Merge Duplicates combines rows that share the same material into a single summed row, useful when you want a clean material level summary instead of one row per element. The state dropdown in the options bar applies RSMeans regional cost indices for the state your project is in. Switch from national average to your state and every unit cost and labor rate adjusts automatically. If you need to include contractor markup and overhead, check the Show Markup box. Fields appear for markup percentage and overhead percentage, type your values, hit apply, and a marked up total column and card appear showing your adjusted totals. The highlight button in the toolbar is one of the most practical features for coordination. Check the rows you want to focus on, then hit Highlight. Those elements get a bright red graphic override applied directly in the active Revit view. They stay highlighted even after you deselect them. This is great for calling out specific materials in a coordination meeting or a site walkthrough. When you're done, hit Clear Highlights or just press Escape and every override is removed from the model. If you have your own pricing data, click the Price Sheet button in the toolbar. It opens a file browser where you load a custom JSON pricing file. This overrides the built-in RSMeans data for the current session and recalculates all your costs immediately. The next time you open the plugin, it returns to RSMeans defaults, so your standard data is always preserved. Switch over to the Dashboard tab for a visual summary. On the left, you've got a pie chart breaking down costs by material category. On the right, a horizontal bar chart shows cost by room or level up to 20 spaces, sorted by cost. Below that is a top 5 most expensive materials list, and at the bottom left you get your total embodied carbon in kg CO2e with a car equivalent comparison to make it easy to communicate to clients. The dashboard only counts rows you have checked in the Takeoff tab, and it refreshes automatically every time you switch to it. The By Room tab organizes your entire Takeoff by Revit room. On the left is a room list showing each room name, its total material cost, and how many line items it contains, sorted by cost so your most expensive spaces are at the top. Click a room and the detail grid on the right populates with every material item assigned to that room: category, material, type, quantity, unit cost, line total, carbon, and manufacturer. At the bottom of the left panel is the Isolate in Revit button. Click it and Revit temporarily hides everything in the active view except the elements in that room. This works in floor plans, ceiling plans, 3D views, sections, any view type. It's the fastest way to do a focused room by room review with a client or GC. The Revisions tab handles change tracking between model updates. Type a label in the field and click Save Snapshot to capture the current state of your Takeoff. That snapshot saves to disk and persists between Revit sessions. When the model is updated and you run the Takeoff again, go to the Revisions tab, select your earlier snapshot from the dropdown, and click Compare. The Delta grid populates with every change: added rows in green, removed rows in red, and changed quantities in orange. A summary bar at the bottom shows how many items changed and what the net cost difference is. You can export the change report as a CSV formatted for RFIs, owner updates, or project logs. The Substitutions tab analyzes your Takeoff for lower-cost material alternatives within the RSMeans 2026 database. Set a minimum savings percentage, the default is 15%, then click Find Substitutions. Any material in your model that has a cheaper equivalent in the database appears in the grid with the original cost, the substitute material and cost, the per unit savings percentage, the total dollar savings, and even the embodied carbon reduction. Select a row and a manufacturer panel appears at the bottom listing suppliers for that substitute material with brand, phone, lead time, website, and notes. You can filter that panel by state to find regional suppliers. When you find a substitution you want to apply, click Apply Selected. It updates the unit cost for that material in the Takeoff tab and recalculates all your totals. When you're ready to share, the export buttons are always visible at the bottom of the window. Export to PDF produces a formatted bill of materials that respects your current grouping in markup settings. Export to CSV gives you a flat file you can drop into Excel or your project management system. Both prompt you to choose a save location and use a timestamped file name by default. And that is Material Takeoff by BKJ Automation. One click to scan your Revit model, automatic RSMeans 2026 pricing, regional cost adjustments, carbon footprint data, room-by-room breakdowns, revision tracking, material substitutions, and PDF and CSV export, all without leaving Revit. If this saves your team time on the next project, drop a like on the video, it genuinely helps. If you've got questions or want to see a specific feature covered in more depth, leave it in the comments. I read everything and I do build based on what you ask for. The link to download from the Autodesk App Store is in the description below. More plugin videos are coming soon. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.